forward.
Jack Straw.
Mr. Speaker, may I join the right honourable gentleman in paying tribute to the British servicemen who've been killed in Afghanistan in recent days. Marine Jonathan Crooks from 40 Commando Royal Marines and Senior Aircraftsman Kim Nicky Griffiths from the RAF Regiment, who both died on Friday, and Sergeant David Monkhouse from the Royal Dragoon Guards and Staff Sergeant Brett Linley from 11 Explosive Ordnance Disposal Regiment, the Royal Logistic Corps, who both died on Saturday. These were very brave men who lost their lives in the service of their country, our country. We salute their courage, and we will always honour their memory and sacrifice which they have made for us. And I join too very much with the right honourable gentleman in sending our deep condolences to the family, the comrades and friends of these brave service personnel. Mr. Speaker, we welcome the Kabul conference, which the Foreign Secretary has attended, and hope that it does indeed lead to positive improvements in the lives of the people of Afghanistan. The Prime Minister has said that he wants to see United Kingdom combat troops withdrawn by 2014. Could I ask the right honourable gentleman whether that commitment is unconditional, or will it depend on the circumstances on the ground at the time?
Can I first welcome the right honourable gentleman to the dispatch box. I look forward to answering his questions. This is the first time a Liberal leader has been here in this position since the 1920s, which given his great longevity in politics, was probably around the time he first joined a Labour shadow cabinet. But to his question about our engagement in Afghanistan, the Prime Minister has been clear, we have been clear as a coalition government, that we do not wish to see British troops in a combat role in Afghanistan by 2015, not 2014 that he suggested. This, of course, is consistent with the timetable for the Afghan forces assuming responsibility for security, as agreed in the Kabul conference yesterday in 2014. No timetable can be chiselled in stone, but we are absolutely determined, given how long we've been in Afghanistan, given that we are 6 months into an 18-month military strategy, embarking on a new political strategy, that we must be out in a combat role by 2015.
Jack Straw.
Well, I'm very grateful to the right honourable gentleman, Mr. Speaker, for his welcome for this appearance of mine, probably my one and only appearance. Well, there we are. I'm grateful to the right honourable gentleman for his answer, and I take it from his answer that what indeed he was saying was that this commitment, in my view wisely, is indeed a conditional one. Mr. Speaker, the right honourable gentleman told this House on the 22nd of June that the government had denied a loan to Sheffield Forgemasters because the owners, and I quote, did not want to dilute their own shareholding in the company. But we now know that in private, the right honourable gentleman admitted to the chief executive of the company, and I quote, that you made clear to me your own willingness to dilute your equity share. Now, Mr. Speaker, yesterday my right honourable friend, the Shadow Business Secretary, asked you about this, and you ruled that if a minister makes a factual error in a statement to the House, it is preferable that he or she should correct that error in the House. Will the right honourable gentleman now correct this error?
First, lest there's any confusion on the vital issue of Afghanistan, which I hope will continue to enjoy cross-party support, let me be absolutely clear that we will see our troops withdrawn from Afghanistan from a combat role by 2015. That is what we are determined to see happen. On Sheffield Forgemasters, Mr. Speaker, the right honourable gentleman knows that the problem was simply one of affordability. Lord Mandelson was writing out cheques to companies like Forgemasters, which he knew would bounce. All the while writing in his memoirs, I quote, we were deep in a pit of debt and still digging. That was what was wrong. What was wrong to pretend that there could be government assistance for a great company like Sheffield Forgemasters when, as the former Chief Secretary of the Treasury said, there was no money left.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I find it surprising that the Deputy Prime Minister, who has preached the importance of open and transparent and honest politics, cannot even bring himself to correct the record of something that was plainly wrong. Now, it is not the case that the explanation he is now offering is the explanation he offered before. The explanation he offered before was about the dilution of the company's shareholding or not. And that was the same explanation that was offered to this House by the Prime Minister. The question is, the Prime Minister told this House on the 7th of July, the question is whether it is an appropriate use of taxpayers' money to give it to a business which could raise that money by diluting its shareholding. Now that it is clear that the basis on which both he and the Prime Minister made the decision to refuse the loan was simply wrong, will he reconsider that decision?
That wasn't a question, it was a sort of dissertation. Mr. Speaker, he talks about openness and transparency. What would have been more open and transparent would have been if Lord Mandelson and his government had admitted there was no money. And by the way, don't take it from me. Don't take it from me. I think it was summed up rather well by one of the workers in Sheffield Forgemasters who...
I must appeal for calm. I can see members ranting at the tops of their voices at the Deputy Prime Minister. It is wrong and it must stop. Whatever the feeling, it must stop. The public detest it and so do I. The Deputy Prime Minister.
If he thinks that's a lot of noise, he should try it from there. It's even worse. Let me cite what a worker working in the shop floor of Sheffield Forgemasters said in the Sheffield Star just last week. On a visit to Sheffield Forgemasters by Lord Mandelson, he said, I asked Lord Mandelson if the country was near to bankruptcy, where would the money come from? He turned away to speak to my gaffer. I asked him again, and he said very...
Order, I'm sorry to have to interrupt the Deputy Prime Minister, but this is in itself very discursive, and it is not relevant to the precise responsibility of a member of the government. So we'll leave it... Order, I don't require any guidance. We'll leave it there. Jack Straw.
Conservative MPs complaining that's outrageous.
Mr. Speaker, well, let us